everybody, and welcome to another brand new episode of the Top 10. Here I am, John Rocha.
And I am Matt Knost. Welcome into the show. It's another week of talking movies with the two of us. We're looking to do it. How are you?
What's wrong with your face, man? It's all red. Are you all right? Have you been blowing your nose? Like the edges of your nose or anything? Are you still recovering?
I literally just blew my nose like 2 seconds right as the intro was going, but it could just be the lighting situation or who knows? Or just maybe I've gotten back on the sauce. I don't know.
I mean the COVID stuff. I was making sure you're all right.
No, I've got a nagging cough. I got bronchitis after COVID.
Oh, good.
It wasn't bad. It's like the weakest case of bronchitis I've ever had, thankfully. But I still have a nagging cough. It only comes up though when I lay down at night.
Oh, weird.
At this point. Yeah. Okay. So I hack up a lung every night. Some nights it's only 5 minutes. Other nights I've had to get up and like come back downstairs and get on my laptop for a while and then go back. And there was one night I did it 3 times just because I'd lay back down. I started hacking like crazy.
Wow.
And then, but at the same time, had I not had the vaccine, I'm pretty sure I would have ended up intubated or something in the hospital. So
don't say that. Yikes.
Well, it did this number and my body already had somewhat of a built-up immunity to it.
Right.
So thank God I had the vaccine. At least that's my understanding. I don't know if there's any factual proof of that, and I don't know if there's any way to prove it, but it seems reasonable to me.
Yeah. Would have had to do the show from the hospital. I don't know how that would have gone. I don't know how that
I'm pretty sure the show takes a hiatus at that point.
Matt, which one is number 5 for you? Just point that.
Not even. I'm pretty sure I'm going to skip on making a list for a while if I have I'm on a ventilator.
That's fair. I've been deathly afraid to catch this thing because of that. We've talked about it, so I'm glad you at least, it sucks that there's lingering shit, but it didn't get worse. So that's a positive because there are other people who have it worse because of the lingering or because of the conditions and whatever the stuff that they had.
Still haven't gotten their sense of smell back or taste and that's even on the mild because quite a few people have passed away.
Yeah, true. Very true.
True. I am thankful that it is what it is, and you know what? I will move forward. No big deal.
Well, we've got Dale Varley Jr. joining us, Alex Russell joining us through ends. Thank you so much for y'all to join us live. For those who are listening later, this is what we do for people who are $10 and above patrons. Every second and fourth Thursday of a month, we go live with the top 10. So you get the topic ahead of time. You get to hear us have our banter live. Sometimes if your comments are funny enough or they're relevant to what we're talking about, we'll bring them up on screen so you get a little recognition that way as well. So if you're not a $10 above patron, we hope this motivates you to join and be a part of our crew here. 12 p.m. PT every second and fourth Thursday of the month. And if there's a better time that a lot of you want to kind of maybe throw out there, maybe Matt and I might be open to it depending on our schedules. Maybe put it in the Facebook group and see if there's some votes there for a certain time and that you all would be willing to commit to it because y'all have been really great when Matt built those separate Facebook group rooms with the different cities. You all were really great at committing to coming to the shows in those cities. So maybe you all can commit to some times and we'll get a bit more of you to join us live. We shall see for sure. Matt, hell of a weekend of football. What do you want to say? What a weekend.
First off, I don't know if you noticed, but I just changed my name. Since you're Rocha Fett, I went with Mando Knost. So that's.
I'm sorry. This is from yesterday.
Oh, no, that's fine.
All right.
Fine.
All right. My bad. Mando Knost. I like
it. Watch it. I guess we probably shouldn't get into a book of Boba because it just came out.
Yeah.
And we do have 3 people that may or may not have seen it thus far watching, and there could end up being more. So I don't want to spoil anything for it. My favorite episode of the season. I'll just say that.
Ironically. Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to say anything. I think they made a colossal misjudgment on putting an episode like this because it has completely backfired on them because of how people have felt about the season as it's gone along. An episode like this immediately reignites the controversy that had kind of been bubbling down. It kind of quieted down over the last few weeks, and now is just full blazing fire on social media. Everybody taking sides, everybody coming after each other about
there's hopefully it's too bad that it's already been shot. I was going to say you could take lessons from, but what are you going to do?
You have 2 seasons of shows to take lessons from in the approach. So I don't know if this one episode would have taught them any more than those other episodes from the other seasons.
It was it's just all the little things. It's just like see what you do with this one. You should probably be doing more of that with that one.
Yeah.
But anyway, neither here nor there.
It's not the actor's fault. I want to make sure that
no, I don't think so at all. I think it's the behind the scenes people determining what is going to be happening.
Yeah.
Not the individuals on the show themselves.
Exactly.
The story choices and aesthetic choices that are just questionable, in
For
my
sure.
opinion.
Yes, true. Star Wars fans fighting online. What a weekend of football, my man. Did you watch all the games? What was your reaction?
Best weekend of football. Best divisional round, hands down. I can't think of another one that even remotely compares.
Yeah.
All 4 games were excellent. And then you get into that last one, you're like, look, this was the heavyweight fight. I hope it's as good as we're all anticipating. And it was even better.
Yeah.
I mean, 13 seconds. I got a few buddies of mine that are diehard Chiefs fans. And I texted one of them. I was like, that should have been on the tombstone of this season for you guys, 13 seconds.
Yeah.
And it's not. I mean, just watching it after he made that first pass, I was like, he's going to do this. Watch this. Watch this. And then the next pass, you'd be like, they fucking did it.
Mm-hmm.
After even Butker missed 2 kicks, which he doesn't do.
Right.
And the whole time I'm watching this, like, man, that 4 points would just make a dramatic change in all of this.
Yeah.
But then Allen to get the 2-pointer, to take the 3-point lead, and then it just they come back down. I do think the overtime rules could be tweaked, just like everybody was bitching about when it comes to playoff time. I just don't know what you do.
Oh, so you want to change it just for the playoffs?
Yeah, just for the playoffs.
Might be fair. That might be fair. I bristle at any changes. I like the idea of sudden death. If the defense is good enough, they'll stop you. This is the game, and it's always been the game. And I mean, if you get a 2-minute drive to score a touchdown or field goal to win the game, that's essentially an overtime situation. So why is that okay in a regular time situation, but in overtime somehow it's not okay? I'm always confused by this. And I think it comes from people wanting to see more of the game.
Yeah.
But you're going to exhaust these players. Like
exactly. It's just going to increase chance of injury. And I don't want that.
Yeah.
Because it's
the second Mahomes gets injured in overtime because he got a second chance or a second drive, and it doesn't run. Even if they win, they go into an AFC championship with like Chad Henne at their quarterback. No one's going to want to watch that. So it's just like it's detrimental to the NFL, in my opinion.
It could be. I think the more detrimental thing would be adding a game into the season, thereby extending it and making
1,000%.
Increasing the chances, because now they're not doing training camp. So the first month to 5 weeks of the season sucks as guys get into game shape.
Yeah.
Basically everybody just turns into Shaq in his prime, be like, you don't pay me in the off season. Be like, they kind of do, man. They kind of do. Did. Yeah. That's your argument has logical flaws in it, but whatever.
I could see you saying that if you're an NBA player in the 60s and 70s.
Yes.
You had
to sell insurance. Yeah. Or
like,
you're a butcher or some shit.
Shaq, you're getting paid millions. And just because the money doesn't arrive when it's the off season, because you get paid during the season, doesn't mean they're not still paying you to stay in shape.
Yeah, it's a year-round
lazy ass
vocation at this point.
Exactly. But yeah, great games, a lot of surprises. Rodgers, I don't know. I got a feeling he's going to stick around in Green Bay. And
I hope he doesn't. Please, Rodgers, you should leave. If you want to listen, you should leave. I'd love to see the Packers just wallow in shit like the rest of us for a while. So happy they lost.
Oh, God, who even went? Yeah, I think everybody in the world was happy. Just about everybody.
Well, I don't give a shit about his vaccine status. I wasn't rooting against him for that. I was rooting against him because he's got a green and yellow jersey on.
That's fair.
And I'd like to see them lose. That is, purely I'm sick of you guys kicking the shit out of us year in, year out. So it'd be nice if you guys sucked for a while. Welcome to, the rest of us.
He's a choking dog, man. I mean, 9-8 in the playoffs. Twice now as a number 1 seed, blowing it at home. His home record in the playoffs is not that great, and he's got one Super Bowl victory. He's essentially tied with Favre. So we were talking about this on Game Time yesterday. Is he the most overrated? Is he overrated now? Can you officially call him? I know Fernandez used to say this all the time, and I thought he was crazy when we were at Collider and we would talk about it. I don't know. I'm sure you heard him say it, and it just kind of blew me away. They think Rodgers is overrated. And I'll be goddamned if maybe he was right, because he feels like now a great regular season. He's essentially Peyton Manning without that second Super Bowl. And to me, that kind of, I don't know. I don't know how to assess him now overall as a quarterback, because the playoffs is where it matters, man. The playoffs are where it matters.
So who was having this discussion?
A lot of people have.
What I'm saying on Game Time.
Oh, it was me, Winston, and Ben Goddard talking about it.
Okay. So who are Winston and Ben's teams?
Winston, they're both Cowboys fans.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if the Packers called tomorrow to your team, my team, or Dallas and said, hey, what would you give us for Rodgers? All three of us, three of our teams would be like, what would you like? What would you like?
Situation.
How many hand jobs do you need to make this happen? We all would. He's not overrated.
Yeah, but only because our regular seasons have sucked. So he would give us a shot to get in the playoffs. But if he choked out again in the playoffs, then at some point you would have to be like, well, what's the point? You know what I'm saying? Kirk Cousins was a goddamn good regular season quarterback, couldn't get us into the playoffs to save his life.
Well, that means he's not a good regular season quarterback if he can't get you into the playoffs.
Fair.
I'm just saying, is he serviceable? He's better than the average Bears quarterback. I'm not
true
denigrating the man, but
he's more than serviceable. I think he's a little more than serviceable, but he just snake bit in a lot of ways. I don't like him as a quarterback overall, but I know, because I think he chokes in big games, except for that one playoff victory. Was it last year or 2 years ago? But like, I don't know. I'm sure you would take Kirk Cousins in a heartbeat over anything you've got. Don't you think? You wouldn't take him over Justin Fields?
Nope.
Wow. Okay.
Well, because Justin Fields has upside that you're selling yourself on. Kirk Cousins, you know exactly what you're getting.
It's true. You do.
And I'd rather take upside at this point, because I've had enough of I know exactly what I'm getting quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I'd like to lie to myself for a little while. It's the God's honest truth.
Yeah, that's fair.
Believe in the youth. Josh Allen looked terrible his rookie year, and now he is one of the premier quarterbacks in the league. So,
yeah,
I could sell myself on that hope.
You look at that AFC, dude. You got what? Mahomes, Josh Allen. Now you got
Burrow,
Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson. These are names you're going to be listening to, you're going to be hearing as this thing goes along.
Yeah,
for sure. And I don't know what the Titans do. They got to get themselves someone besides Tannehill as well. I mean, Tannehill gets them in the playoffs, but again, can't get the job done.
I think he might be done with the Titans.
Maybe, man.
Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah, it's gonna
be. Did you? I'm sure you did. I'm sure you talked about it too. Did you see that Moon Knight trailer?
Ooh, there you go. Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, the one that dropped last week. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, was it last week? I literally just saw it on Twitter like 2 days ago.
Really? Yeah, it was.
It was on the trending section, like Moon Knight trailer. I think it was like 2 days ago, 3 days ago.
Yeah, they dropped it during the Rams Cardinals playoff game. They dropped it at halftime. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I like
why it was trending so late then on Twitter.
Who knows? People start to have conversations.
Yeah. I didn't
come out trends every few days, so you just never know with Twitter.
I was surprised. Every once again, Twitter will like the Fresh Prince trailer actually looked kind of good.
Yeah, I know. Bel Air looks good.
I was shocked. Just been a few of those lately. I'm just like, all right, Twitter, keep suggesting these. You've done well. Moon Knight looked interesting. I don't know a damn thing about the character.
Oh, you've never read any of the comic books from Moon Knight?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's a bunch of really good ones, man. I'm a huge Moon. I got Moon Knight sitting right up on the shelf. I got a bunch of those that I always go and buy them on Sundays at Comic-Con. Just go and stack either New Avengers or Moon Knight or Hellblazer. Those are the ones I look for, because usually a lot of the sellers can't get rid of those books because there's not a lot of big fans for them. So they drop the prices. And so on Sundays, I go and just kind of scoop up a bunch of shit, like $5 a book, and enjoy reading the stories and stuff. So yeah. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, for whatever reason, I don't know why, but YouTube suggested this channel called I think it's called Comic Tropes,
Mhm.
and the guy just breaks down different tropes of various writers and artists and
Oh,
stuff
wow.
like that within comic books. It's
Oh,
it's pretty interesting. I've watched
wow.
probably 15 of them, 20 of them at this point,
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
just about different artists over the years and whatnot. And then from that, then YouTube suggested all these others. I've watched so many different comic book things over the past like 2 weeks.
Are you
Uh,
getting back into it? Are you slow
no, no,
yourself?
not in the
Oh,
slightest. I just find it interesting in this the entire culture that doesn't exist for me anymore.
right.
Um, but obviously carries on, and with
Mm.
the advent of all the superhero movies, has had a hell of a resurgence.
Yeah, I was actually looking up, it's funny you mentioned that. I was, looking up my Dark Knight Returns, like, what I could get for it. Like, I was just like, because 'cause I've got first run of all 4 of the, issues, and I just randomly was looking, and the prices have gone back up, and I think that can't be a coincidence when you look at the NFT stuff and you look at the sports cards industry coming back now huge.
Mhm.
And Alice was telling me the other day he sent a stack of his stuff to get appraised by
Oh,
somebody to see how much you could get for it. So I'm surprised at how this has all come back now when it was like basically dead a few years ago.
yeah.
Now it's come back with a force, with a vengeance, man.
Yeah, I looked through I don't have most of mine anymore.
Mhm.
I got a box my mom gave me like 5 years ago of all the
Cards or
stuff
comic
she
books?
it's a random assortment of there's no comic books in it, but there's a bunch of different basketball cards, and
Oh, yeah.
then what I don't have anymore, I don't know where it is. She may still have it. She may have thrown it away. I had all the Garbage Pail Kids,
Oh, yeah. Holy
and those
shit.
are worth a mint at this point. And I didn't have complete, but first and second runs, I had almost all of them.
Wow.
And the most valuable ones, I know I had like numerous of the one with the guy with the kid with the exploding
Mhm.
head.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that
That's the most expensive one. Is like I had like 50 of those fucking things. But I searched through the basketball card. So apparently it turns out there's a oh god, I can describe it, but I can't remember who the manufacturer is. But there's a Mark Jackson from the Knicks with
okay.
the Menendez twins sitting courtside, and you can see them in the shot.
What?
And I have the year previous and the year after. I don't have that Mark Jackson.
How much is that one for? Now I'm curious.
I a decent amount. It's not like it's crazy,
Right, right, right.
but it's like the Mark Jackson cards aren't worth this much on their own.
Of course, because he ain't
Yeah,
all
the
that.
Menendez twins are in the background. I don't have it. I've looked through. I've got the first complete series of Skybox, and that's worth a decent amount in pristine condition.
So this 1990 Hoops team night, Mark Jackson with the Menendez brothers, Gem Mint is right now on eBay on sale for $6,000. Good God Almighty!
Yeah, well, you can ask whatever you want.
Right, I suppose you're right. You can
If
ask.
you click the sold listings, you can actually see what the going rate for
Right, right, right,
any of those things are. But yeah, it's Mark Jackson's cards don't go for that kind of money.
right. Because it's Mark Jackson.
Yeah, well, he didn't have quite the storied career
Right.
to justify.
Now here go that card. Um, wow, I didn't even know there was a card with the Menendez brothers. That's crazy. Yikes.
I didn't know until it was like
Wow.
a year or two ago. I heard
Nice.
about it and I was like, oh, I think I might have that card. That would be worth a lot of credits.
Nice, Drew. Nice. Yeah, anything else you want to touch on? Anything else entertainment wise before we jump into the show?
I mean, nothing I could think of specifically.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, we're counting down today on the show the top 10 movies that have to do, or top 10 movies about the moon. Basically, top 10 movies. The moon has to be a part of the movie, not a title
Yeah,
necessarily, but certainly
no.
a part of the movie. And that's what we're doing. And there was a lot of a lot of interesting choices here, man. It was you could have easily done one that was all documentaries about. I didn't know there were that many documentaries till I started doing some research and watching some stuff for this list. So fascinating thing. Why do you think we're still fascinated by the moon? And we're doing this in honor of Moonfall, the new Roland Emmerich film that's coming out. I'm getting a screening of it. I think I'm seeing it Monday or Tuesday night. I'm looking forward to this. But
Are you really?
yeah, oh yeah. I love these stupid little ones that roll in.
Oh god, it looks
Really.
just beyond terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm happy that the guy from Game of Thrones is getting some work.
Oh yeah, Samwise Tarly. Yeah, or Sam
Yeah.
Tarly. Yeah.
So it's good for you. But God, that looks so terrible.
It
I do
does.
not
Halle
envy the
Berry.
fact that you have to watch that one.
Wow.
I guess you don't have to, but it'd be good for the channel
It's
because
good
there
for the
might be interest. Yeah.
Right. And Jackass Forever is the next night. And then Death on the Nile on Thursday night. So I'll get to watch a few of those, which I'm looking
That looks I'm intrigued by that one.
As am I. As am I.
I mean, there's a reason that Christie is the second best selling author of all time.
Yeah.
Maybe the number one selling author of all time.
Yeah.
It's like her and Shakespeare. It's 1 and 2 or in some capacity. It's great company. Yeah, another Poirot classic brought to the screen by
It looks
Kenneth
like they've
Branagh.
toned his mustache down this time around, Matt.
Yeah, it still looks ridiculous. I mean, it's like the equivalent of was it Olivier? I think it was Olivier, where he starts with the shoes and he builds up from the character from there. You figure out how walk a mile in the shoes type of thing. And Kenneth Branagh might be. I start with the mustache, and I work out from there. But at the same time, I think it really works for the world that you kind of have to create for a story like that.
Yeah. It's audacious in that way.
Sure, that's one way to put it. That's a judicious choice of words, as if you're going to meet Branagh at the fucking screening. Bold choice. Bold.
Kenneth, the mustache. Let's talk about
Genius or incredible genius? Talk to me. Otherworldly.
Where do you fit? Where do you fall on
Where? Yeah, exactly. In the thought process, brilliant or genius? What do you think it is?
He's great. He always has good humor about it.
He's great. I like him. I think he's a great actor and better director than I think most people give him credit for.
Oh yeah, agreed. I mean, dude, who is clamoring for a fucking theatrical mystery film?
Nobody.
Right? Nobody was clamoring for that, yet people went to see it. Now we'll see how Death on the Nile does. It's very curious to see how that does. I love people who were like, "Oh, nobody went to see West Side Story because it's old material." I'm like, Murder on the Orient Express was like for the fucking. How old is that? That's older than West Side Story, for God's sake. So, just funny stuff.
Yeah, I would assume early 1900s.
Yeah, I think
when did
so.
Agatha Christie write those?
Maybe. Let's see.
I don't know. 1920s is what I have in my head.
Okay. Death on the Nile book. What's the date on this? 1937. 1937.
1937. That was off by 17 years. If I go with 1920, I could say 29. She wrote it right before the crash. That's the best I could do. So I'm only off by 8 years.
Just a bit outside.
Just a bit outside.
Yeah. She did start writing in the 1920s, though. So shout out to you for getting that part of it right.
Well, yeah, but I mean, she wrote how many books? It's kind of bananas, the number of books that she wrote.
Yeah. Murder on the Orient Express was 1934. And there's Death in the Clouds, which people have talked about. Death on the Nile, which is 1937. And then there were None, which is 1939, which I've watched a version of that. Yeah, she kept writing into her. Jesus, she had a book published in 1976. That was probably her last one.
Well, that could have been I don't know when she passed, but that could be a posthumous.
Oh, maybe. Last Case was written in the 1940s. But it was released in 1976. Yeah, when did she die? She died. You come for the Agatha Christie content here. She died in 1976, so she died in 1976. So okay. So, one more story before I go. Thank you. That was my imitation.
It's pretty impressive.
I did that without a A mustache.
I'd say you should give Brana that impression. Hey, what do you think of this? I've been working on my Agatha Christie. I think they'll love it.
Genius or brilliant?
Yeah, brilliant. Wish you think it's mustache or just growing in the mustache? Where on the pantheon level?
Well, I didn't think about this because, well, I mean, what we just talked about, I wonder if Death on the Nile is before Murder on the. So maybe you're right. Maybe this is like the beginnings of the mustache. It could be really funny.
Well, you said it was 1934. The other one was
Yeah.
the previous was 1937.
Right.
So you're saying Poirot was growing out the mustache, becoming full on.
Maybe.
Perhaps that was his motivation. Who knows?
I think it's fascinating because Army Hammer's all over this movie. So I'm so curious to see how people.
Have we? I haven't heard a thing since he recused himself from the world.
Probably on purpose. I'm glad you haven't heard a thing. That means
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, as far as update on any kind of allegations, potential case, I haven't heard. I don't search any of that stuff out, but usually a case like that, especially with the details, you would have heard. It would have percolated up.
Yeah, no, I think everyone's kind of chilling out about it because they don't want to get into any kind of situation. And I think his people are like, just shut up and go away for a while. People are going to forget if you can go away for a while. So,
yeah,
that's what I think. Anyway, let's jump into the show here, man. Our top 10 films about the moon. Brought to you by Moonfall.
Brought to you by Moonfall. And yeah, so thankfully we didn't have to go with moon in the title because I don't know that there are 10, to be honest, for me.
No. I don't think there are 10 either. But some of these have some moon stuff.
Yeah, no, they all have relevance to the moon itself. The moon plays a part in all the movies we've chosen. And yeah, I have 2 lists.
Oh, 2.
Well,
what's that all about?
It was a difference of if you approach it as the moon or a moon.
Oh, Lord.
But I did not do the a moon. It's the moon.
Just what happens when you sit around. You got too much time on your hands.
It's not really. It's just like, oh, yeah, if we go a moon, well, this would count and this would count and this would count. So I added those 2. Okay. I just threw those on, squeezed out some others. Boom, second list. It's pretty simple. And that was only thinking about it for like a couple minutes.
Okay.
Well, some of them are obvious. If you go a moon, Return of the Jedi.
Sure.
Well, the forest moon of Endor. It's a moon.
Good point.
Europa Report was another one that I thought of.
Oh, nice. That's an old school one. Nice.
I think that's past like 10 years.
That's what I'm saying. It's old school. You think it's wait, Europa Report? Hold on.
Yeah, it's like within the past 10 years.
Oh, 2013. Oh, all right.
Okay.
All right.
And then what is it? Outlander, the Sean Connery, just for shits and giggles. Yeah.
Which is the remake of High Noon in Space.
Yes. Just because to talk about it and why not. And so I threw it on that list. But that was the extent of which I thought about it.
Jupiter's sunless third moon.
Yeah, it's on like Io, isn't it?
I'm Sean Connery. I'm on a moon.
But we didn't say I was like, I'm pretty sure we went with the moon, our moon. So our moon needed to be have some sort of feature in the movie itself.
Sure.
So that's what we did.
Sounds good. All right. Well, how does the show work, my man?
We set a topic, go our separate ways, create individual top 10 lists. Show back up here. I do my bottom 3. He does his bottom 3. I do my next 2. He does his next 2. Then we trade 1 apiece. Once we have revealed our personal top 10 list, we create the shows between the 2 of us.
Boom. All right.
So at my 10 spot.
Yes.
This is probably a punt.
Okay.
This is Superman 2.
Yes. A slight punt. A slight punt.
A slight punt. All right. I thought it might be like 5-ish. So
no. Slight punt.
Sounds like 7-ish is what it sounds like. Perhaps. I don't know.
It's slight punt, we said.
My number 9 is Despicable Me.
Oh, nice. I have not seen those. So knock yourself out. Go ahead.
It's I think I haven't seen the latest one just because
Yeah.
I ended up seeing Minions with like niece and
Oh, nice.
nephew or something, and it's terrible. It is beyond terrible. So it kind of soured me on. And then the Despicable Me 3, I think is the last one, and I didn't see
Yeah, I
it.
think so.
I
Yeah.
was like, I'm good with all this. But the first one, I mean, the moon comes into play because you know Gru is the Steve Carell character's supervillain,
Mm-hmm.
and there's another supervillain that steals the Great Pyramid.
Yeah.
So Gru wants to, upstage him, and he wants to steal the moon, and he gets a shrink ray, and he steals the moon. Um, so that's where the moon comes into play on this.
Right.
But the art direction is really interesting. I like the character design on that, but the connection between Gru and he has 3 girls that he adopts
Right.
is
Yeah.
really fantastic, and the girls that do the voice acting are
Mhm.
amazing.
Right.
Um, and they have a genuine bond that you gravitate towards, and I think that's what really sells you on the movie.
Yeah.
Like the aesthetic appeal of it is interesting and unique, and I like it for that fact. But the heart of the story is what really draws you in. I think that's what makes it worthwhile and
Yeah.
something that you could recommend. Whereas the second one is all right, and
Right.
then Minions is trash, and I haven't seen the third, so I don't know if it's any good
Fair
uh,
enough.
at all. But I would recommend it for that. But then he steals the moon. He's a true supervillain.
Totally works. You're messing with wave patterns. You're messing with Earth gravitational force when you steal the moon. So
You ever
yeah.
seen that the Rock sketch on SNL where they have a supervillain contest to see who's the biggest supervillain in the world?
No, I don't think I've ever seen
Oh,
that.
it's good. Just look it up.
Yeah.
It's worth
All
your
right.
time.
Supervillain The Rock. All right. Done and done.
Yeah, that's I won't spoil it for you. It's good.
Okay. Well, what's I since I haven't seen it, I can't contribute to this conversation.
That's
What's your
fine.
number 8? What's your number 8?
My number 8 is Ad Astra.
Oh, I haven't seen this one, so I didn't put it on my list. Is it a moon or is it going to Mars? I thought it was going to Mars, or is that wrong?
No, they end up going to is it Neptune ultimately?
Okay, okay.
But they go to a space station on the moon.
Okay, fair. All right.
And I will tell you this much. Well, I don't want to ruin it for you. The part on the moon is my favorite part.
Okay. Does it
Uh,
get trippy the more deeper they get out into space? Is that the issue?
no. It's
Okay.
an exploration of a father and son
Okay.
ultimately.
Mm-hmm.
But when he's on the moon, they bring an element into something that's like, you know what? If we have a moon base and all that, these other peripheral things would exist, and they
Good point.
bring something that I hadn't thought of like
Right.
that into the mix, and it made for an exceptionally cool scene.
Okay.
And I walked out of it going, now that's okay. Like I like that idea of bringing that into. I don't want to ruin it for you. I think the movie overall is okay.
Yeah.
Um, but I really thoroughly enjoyed that those scenes when he's on the moon itself. It's a small part of the film because he is
Right.
venturing out into deeper and deeper space trying to get his father back.
Right. Well,
Um,
the trailer I saw with them racing their cars on the moon.
okay, yeah. So they're
Is that
basically
the moon? Is that the moon
it's
stuff?
basically they're moon pirates in essence. It's
Okay.
someone coming. It's like
I
a
love it.
convoy being cut off by raiders,
Uh-huh.
and there's this battle between the two of them, and you just start to think about it. You're like, okay, if we do have bases on the moon, then they're more than likely, like, if it is a way station in space, then
Yeah.
there are going to be criminal elements up
Can't argue
there.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, that is very interesting. I
Yeah.
had never thought about that fact of course, we would have crime
Mhm.
on the moon once there's enough people on the moon.
Yeah.
Uh, and for that fact, and it was my favorite set of scenes in the movie
Okay.
itself. That, and I think maybe the very opening, there's a space elevator. Well, it's
I like that. Space elevator.
Well, it's a space elevator, the term for it, but it's a superstructure that spans from the Earth to orbit,
Oh, okay.
and it stays like it's tethered to the ground,
Right. Right.
and you call it a space elevator, but you know, there are elevator aspects of it, but you know,
Hmm.
but within that, it's something that I've read about and how we would go about do it and the different ideas as to what the structure would have to consist of, because it's a potential if we want to do long-term space travel.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to continuously send shuttle up after shuttle up after shuttle up.
Right. Right.
So if we had something like this, well, we don't have to expend all that fuel and we can get things up with much less energy up into low orbit.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So to see that idea realized in a film, I don't think have ever seen it before.
Yeah.
And watching it, I was like, oh, okay, space elevator. That's what they went with.
Yeah.
And then there's a cool little action sequence that happens on it.
Okay. Cool. All right.
So that was my 8. Yeah.
Okay. So my number 10 is Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me.
That is a punt.
Oh, nice. All right. Transformers 3 is my number 9, Dark of the Moon. I can't imagine it's on your list.
No, I like movies, you know?
Okay.
I like walking out with the same IQ level that I had going in. Maybe even having learned something.
It can't be true. Anyway, I love the way they start this film off with this, in the middle of the Autobots and Decepticons going at each other. A Cybertronian spacecraft lands on the moon with this technology, and then NASA sends up Apollo 11. That was the real reason we sent Apollo 11 to the moon, was to try to find out and get this technology. And then, of course, it kind of goes all horribly wrong. And even Buzz Aldrin has a cameo in the movie. But that's pretty much the extent of the moon in the movie. But it qualifies for me.
It
Dark
does.
of the Moon being in the title as well. But yeah, this is one of the ones that I liked. I hated that second one. So when the third one happened, I was like, okay, let's see what happens here. And I enjoyed it. I liked it for what it is. I like when they fuck with American history and stuff like that and mess around with it. So using it in this way I thought was really funny, and but then it was pretty brutal what happens to those astronauts once they realize what they've discovered.
Is that the Leonard Nimoy one?
Yes.
Okay.
Where he comes down.
Yeah,
He's a good villain. Yeah,
that one's fine.
Yeah.
As far as the it's fine. That's the best I can say about it. I do like the idea that our motivation to go to the moon would be to get technology.
Makes so much sense.
It does.
Right.
There's a lot of truth in something like that. We would spend so many resources, time, man hours, etc.
Yeah.
For something like that to gain an advantage over everybody else down here. Yes, that seems very plausible.
Yeah.
But there was no chance that movie was ever going to make my list. So
that's fair.
I haven't seen it in a long, long time, and I remember those scenes, and then the scenes in Chicago when they're setting up the pillars or whatever they are.
That's right. Right.
Yeah, that's all I remember from that movie. I couldn't tell you what else happens in it. I'm sure Shia LaBeouf says no about 5 times. It was a trope he had for a while, man. It was so annoying. It's weird that he morphed into an actor who I thoroughly enjoy.
How dare you, man? How dare you?
Are you kidding me? Go back and watch those early Transformers. No. Okay, man. I was fine with it in the first movie, but
it's a natural reaction to things. Why are you coming from a man, the booth? Why you coming from the booth?
Look, once again, the fact that he is morphed into an actor who I think he challenges you.
Okay.
He is interesting. He always tries to bring something to the table.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, he does. He's just, he's put out a tremendous amount of interesting work over the past, 5 years or so.
Yeah, agreed. No.
Oh, it's so annoying. Once you see it, you can't unsee it.
I have to tell you, I've never thought of it.
Oh, dude, go watch those. What was it? Eagle Eye? Was that his Rear Window?
No, Rear Window was Disturbia.
That's what it was.
Yeah, hold on. I want to see if there's what Shia. How do you spell L-A-B-E-A?
L-E-B
no
E-O-U-F?
Here's a whole video of all the times he's done it.
No, dude. It's so once you see it, you can't unsee it.
B&H customer store.
This can't be real. Oh, sorry about that. I forgot. My new mixer plays audio.
Oh, that's all right. Let's all hear it. Let's all hear it.
Us to get a strike on the video. So, but that is funny. That is funny. I didn't even think about the fact that he would be doing that. So hilarious.
Yeah. No. He does it. It's so much. And now I don't know that I ever see it. It's like he got the note. He saw that there was a highlight reel.
No.
It's playing again. Just
No. You're so right.
Fucking.
I can play 6 seconds, so I can get away with it for 6 seconds. But
6 seconds? That's the copyright rule? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I think I'm going to get this because I've got sound effects on the new mixer. So it could be a fun thing to add to the show a little bit. So, like, Matt's, good take, Matt.
Oh, hey, thanks. We're a morning zoo. Perfect. You got
We are
dropped.
We are not a morning zoo.
Jackie the joke man over here. What do you got? You dropping some fucking what stinger you got?
Jackie Martin. I haven't heard about him in a long time. Oh, you know what? I was watching a documentary the other day, and Gary the Mets one on 30 for 30. Woo!
Oh, yeah, that
dude, that is such
Cousin Sal's EP of.
Yeah. Oh my God. That was such a great documentary. 4 episodes on the 86 Mets. Phenomenal. Having Gary Delabate show up as some kind of talking head about the Mets, I was really shocked by that. Very, very shocked by that. So
yeah, well, I mean, he's changed. I mean, for Christ's sakes, Stuttering John ended up being the announcer on the Tonight Show for a while.
Yeah, I remember that. That's right.
Yeah. And I never listened to Howard Stern.
Oh, really?
And I know who these characters are. Yeah, I never
yeah.
So, and I still knew who the hell they were. But then when I saw Stuttering John on the Tonight Show, because I'd seen Private Parts and they had that E show.
Oh yeah,
yeah. That's where I learned about Howard Stern. I didn't listen. He wasn't on the radio where I lived.
Okay. Yeah, in DC, him and Imus. Yeah, definitely all over DC all the time. And then when he went to Sirius XM, I started to listen to him all the time as well. Now I rarely listen to him just because I'm not really listening to a lot of that kind of stuff nowadays. So yeah, but I did for a long time for sure.
I've got one friend that's been a diehard Stern listener for 2 decades minimum.
Wow.
Well, minimum because I've known him for almost 2 decades.
Right.
And he's listened all this time. And now when you talk to him, he still listens, but he's like, it's not. It sucks.
Yeah.
He's like, I still listen, but it's like, man, he used to get up and tape it so that he could listen to it during his day.
Oh, wow.
He'd wake up, set an alarm. So he somehow was getting the East Coast feed.
Right.
And he lived in San Diego. He told me about it at the time. And he's like, yeah, I tape it. And then I just listen to it on repeat during the day.
Yeah.
And then do the same thing with the next day's episode. And you're like, oh my God, man. It's like, I realize liking a guy, but listen to it all day long.
Hey, don't knock it, man. Don't knock it.
I guess, but he is a friend of mine,
Yeah. All right, let's move on. My number 8 is a documentary For All Mankind. I don't know if that's on your list.
It is not. I limited to one doc.
Fair enough. Yeah, this one from director Al Reinert, who was a journalist, and he got interested. The way this all came about is he just got interested in the space program and started doing some research on it, and all of a sudden created a documentary about it. And he had like millions of hours of footage that he broke down to create this thing. If you haven't seen it, it's pretty fantastic. It's available as a Criterion collection as well, but it's one of my favorite things. And he ended up being a co-writer, I think, for Apollo 13. So certainly having tentacles in his abilities. But yeah, it was just experiencing like what it was like to come up with the mission to the moon, all the stuff that happened on the way there, and then when they landed on the moon. So it's pretty fantastic documentary if you guys haven't seen it. Apparently there's 80 hours of interviews with NASA astronauts and everything like that. So there's a lot of information in here that I think people would really enjoy. And it's different. Like there's another documentary on my list that I thoroughly loved as well, but this one's a nice kind of like giving you a base understanding of what was happening with a little bit of guidance from the voiceover and from the scenes you're watching in the movie. So yeah, and then Brian Eno does the score, which is pretty fantastic as well. So there you go. That's my number 8.
Yeah, no, it's good. I think you're intrigued by the space race in and of itself. I
Yes.
think this one's worthwhile. There's quite a few that are worthwhile, and there's been numerous movies on the space race itself, like one
And
that doesn't
TV show.
qualify. What's that?
And
Yeah,
TV.
and TV. I was about to say that From the Earth to the Moon.
Yeah.
The
Right.
Tom Hanks Spielberg is
It's a
pretty
good one.
fantastic.
Yeah.
The band of brothers basically for space.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, there's been a lot of exploration, just how we went from point A to point B. Fascinating, to say the very least.
Yeah. Agreed. All right. So what's your number 7, man?
My number 7 is Men in Black 3.
Ooh. Go ahead. Knock yourself out.
They have the prison on the moon itself. That's where
That's right. Where
Jermaine Clement is locked up. So that's where the moon ties in. And I actually thoroughly enjoyed. I know people shit on it.
I like it.
Yeah, so do I. It's better than the second one, hands down, to me.
Agreed.
And it's a nice, like, to bring in Josh Brolin as a younger Tommy Lee Jones. Initially, when I heard about that casting, I was like, he looks nothing like Tommy Lee Jones. And then you kind of see it. He just does that stone face of Tommy Lee. And I'm like, I'm buying this.
Yeah.
I'm buying this. And they take it back to the 60s. And you have the space race and all that jazz on top of all of it. But I think it's a really fun movie. That's why I was holding out hope for Men in Black International. So they went back to the well and they managed to come out with another movie that I liked. And I still think that they could do another Men in Black with that same cast.
Yeah.
That would come out good, because I think the chemistry between Tessa Thompson and Chris Hemsworth is really good.
Yeah.
Just the movie is atrocious. But Men in Black 3, yeah, I just think it's a nice update over what we'd previously seen. And I assume Jermaine Clement was going to be the main villain. He is not.
Right.
But man, when he takes those little glasses things off and you see, that's the creepy factor that Men in Black can bring. Because most of it is, the design is kind of kid friendly and whatnot. And then you see something like that and you're like, that's creepy as shit. It just kind of makes the hairs on the back of your neck stand up a little bit. And you're like, oh, I don't like that. Yeah. But yeah, the dark side of the moon, which we can't see, that we have an intergalactic prison up there, because no person will ever be able to go there on their own right now. And even if we could go to the moon, that would be restricted space.
Yeah.
So you couldn't get to that. Make up some sort of, because it's constantly bombarded by the sun. The radiation levels are too high, so you can't go to that side of the moon type of, you make up some nonsense.
Yeah.
But to put a prison on the other side of the moon, I thought it's a fun idea. Why not?
Yeah.
If we have aliens down here on Earth, well, we'd have to put the bad ones somewhere. It doesn't make sense to house them here.
Right.
So give them their own Alcatraz.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that. Yeah, it's a good film. I liked it as well. I mean, going back in time and the Will Smith with his dad stuff, having that kind of extra. Plus, Michael Stuhlbarg, I thought was really great in the movie, as well as that weird kind of alien that moves quickly and moves around. And they have a tough time kind of catching him, and his connection to everything.
Speaking of the Mets, they bring the Mets in with him.
That's right. The what was the other one? Oh yeah, the Andy Warhol stuff was really.
Oh yeah, with Bill Hader, is it?
Bill Hader, yeah, that works.
Yeah,
so
he's
well.
an agent. He's trying to get it, and he's pissed off that he has to hang out with these bohemians and whatnot. Yeah, I like that too. His early flashes of like, man, I really like Bill Hader.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't watching SNL. I still don't really watch SNL. Okay. But with the advent of YouTube, you can see the clips and whatnot.
Yes. Yeah. That's usually I watch SNL the next day.
If clips, or I try and search out, see if my buddy had any this week that were any good.
Which one's your buddy on the show now?
Well, I know 3 people on the show, but well, it's Melissa and then Punky but Aristotle is one of the new cast members. Yeah. I didn't even know about his first character that popped off until I saw someone make reference to it.
Yeah.
In a basketball discussion. And then it segued off into, they had a sub discussion about how much they loved that sketch. And I was like, what the fuck are they talking about? So then I went and looked it up, and I'm like, Aristotle with a breakout character.
Which is it, the one where he's like doing the singing?
Yeah, the Save For Me. Yeah.
Save For Me one thing.
Yeah, and then I saw his robot character on Weekend Update.
That sketch I've watched like 500 times.
So good.
I went back and watched, because apparently on YouTube he's got a version of it that he did like when he was doing his stand-up or whatever, and it is funny, but he honed it for this. I mean, that shit was, I wish they'd bring that character back more often, because I think that shit is funny as hell. Baby, I don't live in Long Island, baby. I mean, just the whole little like, kind of his speech pattern as he's doing the robot.
Yeah, his voice thing
genius, dude.
is fantastic.
Yeah. I didn't know you knew him. That's great, dude.
Yeah.
I went back and like did a deep dive on his shit for a little bit on YouTube and watched some of his comedy. So very funny stuff. Very funny stuff. All right. So what's your 6 then, man?
My 6 is, this might be a punt. First Man.
Oh, that is a punt.
Okay. It's fine. You can shake your head all you want.
Sometimes I wonder about you. All right. So then my number 7 is the punt from earlier, Superman 2. So great stuff. Damn good sequel. I don't care what anybody says. Obviously, the stuff that happens on the moon there is in the movie and what he experiences there on the moon. But like overall, I know either cut, either the original cut or the Donner cut, I got no problem with either cut. I enjoy both of them because I enjoyed the movie when I first watched it before there was another cut. And then I watched the Donner cut and enjoyed it even more. So both of them are fine. And I enjoy going back and revisiting the last gasps of a good Christopher Reeve movie as Superman. Because think about that. We didn't get him as Superman again in a good movie ever after 1 and 2.
No.
Like 3 was terrible. 3 was not that good. It really does not hold up now.
3 is terrible. 4
is horrific. Right.
Just abysmal.
And sadly, he got into that horse riding accident before he could be Superman again, maybe later in life. I mean, dude, if there was a possibility to have Michael Keaton, Christopher Reeve do Dark Knight Returns, holy fuck, man, that would have been incredible. So, live action, I mean. So, but yeah, what about you? What do you say about Superman 2, man? You had it on your list earlier than I did.
I did. I may enjoy it more than Superman 1.
Oh my God. Wow. All right.
I may. I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen, like, I need to watch them back to back to
You're not
genuinely.
A fan of Superman 1, so.
What's that?
You're not a fan of Superman 1, so.
I'm not. And I'm also not a fan of the character.
Yeah, right. That too. Yes.
So that does make a difference, and it colors my perception of the movies. And although I think Henry Cavill is fantastic, and I think Man of Steel is the direction that I would enjoy more Supermans to go.
Right.
But I also know that him snapping Zod's neck is anathema to the comic book fans' interpretation of who Superman is. But I guess. But as we've discussed before, it's like, given the choice, this is the altruistic choice.
He kills Zod in this movie. I hate to break it to people who don't know, but he didn't fall down into a bunch of fucking bed cushions. All right. He died. Superman got out of the way, took his power away from him, and let him fall through the thing and die. Okay. He crushed his hand first, then let him die. Just because you don't see the body doesn't mean he ain't fucking dead. He's fucking dead.
Yeah. It snapped his neck.
Yeah.
In Man of Steel. So it's plain as day, and there's no denying exactly what he did. Yeah. I will say, if you go watch the moon scene, which I did for this, just because I hadn't seen it in a while, and I knew it's like, oh, it's got a moon scene in it, and I went and watched specifically that moon scene. The guy that's in the lander does some of the worst acting you will ever see in a big budget movie. It's fucking terrible. And I don't know that I saw that guy ever again. And look, you were in Superman 2. Who the fuck am I?
Yeah.
Congratulations. You made it into Superman 2. But it's bad. He only has like a couple small lines, but the reads are just so stiff.
That early 1980s acting, man. You gotta love it.
I guess it's just like the Schumacher, we're making a comic book movie. Who gives a fuck? type of ethos.
Just say the lines.
Yeah, exactly. This is ridiculous. This is a paycheck for all of us. Let's just enjoy that fact.
What's your problem?
Yeah. Why are you trying to take this serious? Motivation. The landing on, and I like the idea that when she tears the patch off, and instantly, like, just you're going after, here's to have to go, against next, and they're from a place called Houston. We will go to Houston. We shall go there and rule. But I like the triumvirate of evil. And the
Yeah.
idea that Superman has to beat 3 of his own kind. That's a good foil.
Oh yeah. I mean, because they kind of took that for obviously for Man of Steel, because that's
Mhm.
because I mean the same character, the female character is essentially the same character in Superman 2, who is the right hand woman
Of
of
Zod.
yeah, Michael Shannon Zod in that movie.
Yeah.
So
Can't remember the other
essentially
dude's name.
yeah, they kind of combined both plots into one movie
Mhm.
with Man of Steel. But yeah, this is some good, I mean, Moon stuff that you see here in the movie and what have you. But like having, I mean, that's the thing, having these kind of defenseless astronauts be absolutely destroyed by these three, and then have them just the way they confront all of them, because they have no issue walking on the moon or moving around the moon, and
Yeah.
we're human beings were like, hey, can
Although
we-"
they're flying super slow. Like when she goes
That's
to
true.
cut him off,
Yeah,
she's like barely he's moving at 2 miles an hour. She's moving at 2.5.
right.
And it's just like, hey, she does get in front of him, but not all that menacing. I
Well,
do
it's just
like the
playing with their prey. That's why.
the third guy who the tall guy.
Yeah, the bearded dude. Yeah.
How often do you think him and Jaws from Bond went up for the same part? Had to have. They're like roughly the same dude.
It's a good point. That's a good point. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. Well, the movie that he's in is not on my list.
What is what? Oh yeah, diamonds are for
Nope.
Yep.
There's another one that diamonds
Oh
are.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. No, I didn't.
Yeah. No fucking chance.
There was no way chance I was making it.
No, I can't stand that one.
Now I'm curious to see who that actor is because
He was in a couple other things. He had a run like in the early 80s.
did, huh?
Well, I just did not run, but like popped
Yeah.
up on TV shows, was in a couple more movies.
Yeah, Jack O'Hara. Oh, he's the guy in Dragnet.
Okay.
He's Emil Muzz. Sit on it, spin, copper. He's the guy that's he's the guy that's yelling. I love him in Dragnet. He's hilarious in Dragnet. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, not much else after that. It was a small part in the
Like
first.
I would guess what, maybe a Knight Rider or a Hunter appearance.
Certainly Knight Rider, Hunter, A Murder She Wrote.
Okay.
Perry Mason. He was working. He was in the Flintstones movie in '94.
Wow.
He was in and he's just did something called on the Funny Science Fiction podcast. So probably just a guest on the show there. So, but he's got some films coming out here that are in pre-production. So he's still working, dude.
Good for him. He's got a very specific look.
He is. Yeah.
So you can, once you have a niche, you can continue to work.
He was Irish Jack Halloran. He was a rated heavyweight boxing contender in the middle 1960s and early 1970s. So there you go. 6'6".
Yeah, I was gonna say, dude, he's huge.
Oof.
For an Irish guy too. That's massive.
All right. Hey, you said that.
Well, I just don't know of any other Irish guys that are 6'6". It's not like they're Icelandic. You know what I mean? Well, those guys, they just seem to churn out 7-footers that are 500 pounds pretty easily.
Yeah. He was going to fight Ali, but he got knocked out in an upset fight with a guy named Jimmy Somerville. So, and he fought Foreman and Ken Norton. Damn.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I'll be damned.
So he lost to Foreman and Ken Norton?
Yeah, he lost to Foreman and Norton for sure.
Can you imagine how bad you'd get your ass kicked by either 3 of those gentlemen?
Dude.
Oh my God.
Foreman in his prime before Ali fucked with his confidence. Good.
Yeah.
Thanks. No thanks, man.
Yeah, Ken Norton or any of them, anybody that fights at that level.
It's true. Norton, a former Marine. So no joke there, dude.
Just
nails.
Just get crushed. I mean, taking one punch to the face and you'd be, I can't imagine how hard my bell would be rung. It's just ridiculous. My soul would have left my body.
Tyson scares the shit out of me because of the ferocity, but Foreman would literally pull like a Tilda Swinton in Doctor Strange. He would knock your fucking soul out of your body, man. Just one, woof. Like watching the Ken Norton fight, which occasionally I watch because it's incredible to see how but he turned Norton into a child, dude. No, I'm sorry. Joe Frazier. He turned Joe Frazier into a child. Just had him. He knocked him so hard the homie skipped. before he fell down. I mean, he skipped. I'd never seen that before. Insane. So, and then Ali got the best of him. So there you go.
Yeah, well.
Drew giving you some credit says your verbal jabs would cut deep. So you might stay.
Yeah, you know what that's going to lead to is a harder punch to the face. They're not going to enjoy me being a smartass.
Oh, who's this motherfucker here?
Exactly. And I would go down. Oh, you think you're funny? Bam.
Oh, all right.
Like it's just a,
yeah,
a punch to the gut.
Yeah.
Just knock all the wind I've ever had out of me. Just go down crumpled.
Well, it's like when you play what was it? Scalabrini did that video. You play the worst basketball player at the end of the bench in the NBA. They whoop your ass in the game of basketball.
When Scalabrini called out the random people that thought they could kick his ass, and he had been retired for 5-6 years, and he crushed them all. Like one dude was a rec league dude. One guy played Division I. Another one played professional ball in Europe, and he crushed all three. Because he's a professional.
Yes.
Just doesn't matter that he couldn't get run against the best of the best. He's still, at one point, he was one of the 450 best players in the entire world.
Yeah. Even a heavyweight boxer with a losing record could knock you out.
Oh, yeah.
Basically it. So.
Yeah. Anybody who's had enough training could knock me out. I couldn't. I've only boxed a couple times, man. It is tiring.
Yeah.
And awesome. Just get crushed.
All right. So there Superman 2 is number 7. So then my number 6 is the 1982 movie, The Right Stuff.
They don't go to the moon in that.
Don't they go to the moon? They're going to the moon in that, aren't they?
It's all about the Mercury program, which is all the orbital stuff before it's not the Apollo program, which goes to the moon. It's like the Mercury and Gemini stuff.
Hold on a second, man.
Look it up, dude. Look it up.
Look it up. Look at here.
It's Mercury and Gemini, and it is not Apollo.
What?
So it's about the infancy of the program.
This is one of the first ones that went on my list. I was like, this is a no-brainer.
I thought about it too, and then I thought about it more. It's like they never go to the moon. They just do all the orbital stuff of like, we got to be able to dock in space, and we got to do a spacewalk, and we've got to do the baby steps before we can do the big journey.
Damn. I thought for sure they went to the moon in this one.
I had that initial thought too, and then I was like, I thought about it a little bit longer, and I was like, I don't remember them ever going to the moon. It was all about
what
previous
programs. Bottom 5 again? Because I guess I might as well put one of those on here.
Let's see. Why?
I'll put Men in Black 3. I'll put Men in Black 3 on here.
Okay.
I can put that above Transformers. I like Men in Black 3. It's a better film than Transformers. All right. There we go. Well, there's our bottom 5, Matt.
There it is.
What do we do next?
Well, we take a quick break.
Yeah.
Hear this word from our sponsor, and we'll see you guys in just a second. All right, there we go. There was our break. Thank you to our sponsor. We are jumping into our top 5s. My number 5 is more than likely your number 1.
Oh,
which is 2001.
It is a punt. It is a punt. I'm not going to reveal where it is.
But it's probably your number 1.
So well.
Yeah, am I right? I guess only time will tell.
Yeah, time will tell.
So but the fact that you're not making eye contact with the camera right now tells me that perhaps I might be onto something right now. Where's the sound effect for that? Bam, bam, ba-down. Oh, that's more the Batman, We're going into like a good action at that point. Give me The Price is Right.
No.
Break beat?
There you go.
Sure. Are those just all built in, or are those little
those
sounds?
Come with the thing, and then I'm gonna. Apparently, you can add cues, so I will mess around with that. Morning Zoo, shut up.
Well, have you had like the Nation? Hey, send me ideas for drops, and they can send in clip them out, and then you just easily get the. What do you need? MP3?
I think so. Yeah. But I mean, I think there's a website for this mixer that has like pre-recorded sounds.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to add stuff, mess around with stuff.
Yeah, of course. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
How many presets do you have? That's Batman.
32. I think there's 32 presets, or maybe there's 64. I don't remember. This is the thing. I just got it the other day, but it's thick as fuck. So I gotta like go through this whole thing and play around with it, and fix it. Plus, you have to go through the app to add the sound effects. So you got to register and then go through the app.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah, because it's not necessarily built for Mac. So you have to kind of jump through some hoops. Mac doesn't have one. I mean, I know the Rodecaster was a possibility as well, but I kind of liked the look of this one a little bit better. The Rodecaster looked like something out of Romper Room, so I wasn't the biggest fan, or Fisher Price Toys. So this one looks a little more professional, so I chose this one instead. But we shall see if it works for me. I have 45 days. So anyway, that was your 5.
Yes.
So then my 5 is Apollo 11.
The doc?
Yeah, the documentary.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
This one by Todd Douglas Miller. I got to interview him before at Kaleido for Deep Cut, and we got to sit down and have a conversation about this. Just fascinating how many hours of footage him and his team went through in compiling what they compiled to put this documentary together. And it's not narrated at all, which I think seems to be happening more and more in documentaries over the last few years. No narration and more. And we had that height with Morgan Freeman, obviously with March of the Penguins. But now it seems like less and less documentaries have narration, and they're just showing you what's happening, what's going on, and maybe getting an occasional interview. But this one has, I don't think it has any interviews, and you're just literally watching this thing as it goes along through clips of the people in the actual space station, or in NASA, or through the whole process in the actual rocket ship and what have you. So just phenomenal stuff. And it goes all the way from where they get there to coming back. So it's a hell of a journey, and you experience it like they would have possibly experienced it. And the visuals here are extremely gorgeous, and I got a chance to see it in IMAX. Oh my God, it's incredible in IMAX. So some of the best stuff I've ever seen about the moon.
Going into it, I knew I'd like it, but I was, I don't want to say skeptical, but hesitant to about how much I would enjoy it, because I know this story.
Yeah, right.
And I've seen this story, and how illuminating is it going to be to see it just with the footage, and then you watch it and you're like, that was fantastic.
Yeah.
It was utterly fantastic.
Yeah.
That just clip after clip after clip, and you feel like you're experiencing it as it's in real time, as it's happening type of situation. It almost, akin to if you were alive, during the late 60s, but going through the journey itself. It is perfect. If you have any interest in the space race itself, it's one of, if not the best documentary that I recall having seen.
Yeah.
I put one other on my list, but this one was like, okay, well, if I'm going to have 2, I chose not to, because I was like, there's enough movies with the moon in it that try and spread the love around. But I'm glad it made it on. It's great. If those listening or watching have never seen it, it is totally worth it. Plus, I think it's not that long.
No, it's like an hour and 20.
Yeah, I was about to say it's like 80 minutes, 90 minutes max.
Yeah. It's a quick watch if you're into it. Yeah,
it is, but it's, on the outside, I didn't think it was going to be all that riveting, and yet just fascinating stuff.
Yeah, it tells you the power of editing, man. When you have the right editors, and when we were having the conversation, you talked about how much time these editors spent compiling all this footage and making sure it had a cohesive thing, deciding what to keep, what not to keep, which was really the big struggle in telling the overall narrative and arc of the story and what have you. So just, I'm always marvel at documentarians. Sorry. Because of their ability to kind of go like, okay, what do I want the film to say? How do I get the right people involved in this? And then you're in there like all the time in the editing booth, to make sure it's all squared away the way you want to see it. It's a lot, man. It's a lot.
Yeah, very rarely is it what was it, Icarus, where they started out as a document on one thing, and then suddenly the world, this massive story just falls into your lap. Usually it's, I have to delve into mountains of footage.
Yeah.
And if you pull something out of that is captivating, it's really impressive.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, so what's your number 4, man?
My number 4 is the punt from earlier, Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me.
Wow, 4. All right, bring it.
It's a lot of fun.
It is. I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you.
Usually the death knell for a lot of franchises when you start adding in a bunch of characters, and he manages to add in an iconic character in Mini-Me.
Yes.
Flat out iconic.
Yeah.
Vern Troyer is a name that we all know off of one movie.
Yeah.
It's really impressive. Did he work after that? Yeah, but I don't know that anybody saw any of it.
Right.
Whereas I still know his name and will forever know his name because of this one movie.
Yeah.
And the ridiculous, I mean, they're making fun of Moonraker, the movie we alluded to earlier with the moon base and all that jazz, but just to up the stakes on lampooning the spy film to take it to the moon. I loved everything about that. And the stupid pseudo sci-fi look of it all, where everybody's in shiny silver.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense. And yet they're all, they take the 60s aesthetic of what the future is going to look like.
Right.
And still maintain that in a movie that was made in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Just fantastic. That type of Mike Myers, I hope, comes back in full force.
I don't think it's ever coming back.
Yeah, I think those days are gone.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say I do like the small parts like Bohemian Rhapsody.
Sure.
I thought he was a lot of fun.
Yeah, even in Inglourious Basterds, Churchill. Yeah, he's great stuff. When he pops up in anything, it's always fun to see him.
Is he Churchill in that?
Yeah, isn't he Churchill?
He was just some random British officer.
Oh, I'm pretty sure he's Churchill.
Pretty
sure he's Churchill. Yeah, I don't think we're ever seeing it, and I know you're gonna not like what I'm gonna say here, but we tried to watch that MacGruber series. Woof.
I've only seen the first episode. I liked it.
Bro,
the first episode.
He's too long in the tooth to be doing this. Give me a break.
Oh, there is some truth to that.
Yeah, it was rough. Oh no, you're right. He's playing a guy named General Ed Fenich, so he's not playing Churchill. I thought it was Churchill. Yeah, Rod Taylor is Churchill. Oh, okay. My bad. Homie from Planet of the from Time Machine.
Yeah, because I remember him in an officer's uniform, and I was like,
yeah.
Churchill was long out of the military ranks by the time World War II was around.
Right.
World War I, for sure, I would have bought that, but anyway, neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I think those days are gone for Mike, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, watching that Wayne's World thing for Uber Eats during the Super Bowl, I was like, guys, please, you're too fucking old to be doing this. The wrinkles are all over your faces. Stop it.
Well, these characters very specifically.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Well, they're supposed to be, young 20 idiots who are still trying to figure their lives out, and to see 60-year-old men doing it, I don't know. It just was so disjointed. I'm assuming they just came to you with a boatload of money.
Right.
They're like,
of course.
All right. Yeah. It's the only reason to do it. And they were like, you can have creative control.
Yeah.
But it was interesting to see. What's that?
Especially with Dana, who's not a fan, who was never a fan of doing. Apparently, him and Mike had issues on set.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
Oh, yeah.
That they had a falling out. From that, and then I know Dana was upset with Dr. Evil because he was like, Myers just stole my Lorne Michaels impression and the mannerisms that I did for him.
Wow.
And turned it into a character. Yeah.
Wow.
So they've not been on the best of terms. And that's through interviews with Dana Carvey. That's the only reason I know that. That's one of the things, like on Howard Stern, that I saw a clip of him talking about. And I think on, I want to say maybe Seth Meyers.
Yeah.
One of the American Talks. I know it wasn't Fallon, but I think it was Seth Meyers. Anyway.
Well, I mean, one of the hardest truths in life is when you see someone who takes something you created or you did and just has that natural ability to translate it to more people than you did. And that's frustrating. That's aggravating. And I'm sure for Dana, it was really, because he never had a fucking lead career. He had one movie that people talk about that he did when he first started out. And then after that, it's never really happened. And the Dana Carvey show was canceled early. And so, I mean, he's successful doing his stand-up and whatever, but he never achieved the Michael Myers status.
No.
Money, because those movies made money. I mean, like fucking Shag Me was only made for like $31 million. Made $315 million, dude. That's that's a hell of a return on your investment. So
Well, it just launched him into the
yeah.
stratosphere
Mhm.
of, because Carvey got his shot, Master of Disguise.
Yeah,
And
Master of Disguise. Yeah.
there was another one that I actually thought was pretty good where he was like a con man.
Yeah,
He was in Chicago or something.
was that the first one that he did?
It wasn't Chicago. He lived in Venice Beach, did he not?
Yeah, is that the one with the woman from Rain Man, Ballerina Galino? Or is
Is it
that
that one from Hot Shots?
yes.
If it is,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, because Master of Disguise is with
It's ridiculous disguises. It's so stupid.
yeah, what's the name of her?
I don't remember. I just remember him as the turtle guy.
Yeah.
That's all I remember of it. Whereas the other one I thought was,
Right.
look, it's not the greatest comedy ever, but it's interesting.
Is it Opportunity Knocks?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
To me, that was basically a script that Belushi passed on, and it went to Carvey. Or vice versa. Had Carvey passed on it, Belushi would have shot it.
So it isn't Val. It's a woman named Julia Campbell who looks like her. Wow. Okay.
In Opportunity Knocks?
Yeah. I'm looking at the cast.
I thought it was the woman from Hot Shots.
I thought she was in it too. But no, I don't see. Well, Jed Mills. No, I don't see her. So maybe she in the, because I know what's her face was in the oh no, is it Clean Slate? Is that the one where he's like
Clean Slate might be it, yeah.
A private eye who suffers total amnesia every 24 hours. Yeah, that's
and he lives in Venice Beach or down by the beach somewhere.
That's the one with Golino. That's the one with her.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm conflating the two.
Yeah.
And then so he's a con man in Opportunity Knocks.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's been a while since I've seen any of those.
Yeah. Master in Disguise. Was it Master of Disguise? Was that
Masters? I think that's what it was called. It's atrocious.
Yeah.
If you've never seen it, don't. It's not good. Road to Wellville. I forgot he was in that.
Yeah.
That's a weird movie.
Wow, he was in a lot of things before he was in SNL. Interesting. A TV series called One of the Boys.
Yeah.
This
Blue
is
Thunder.
Spinal Tap. Blue Thunder.
I don't even know what that is.
That's the Roy Scheider movie they turned into a TV series about the helicopter.
Oh, wow.
I do remember him in Tough Guys. I like Tough Guys, the Burt Lancaster, Kirk Douglas thing.
Okay.
Come out of jail after they've been in jail for like 40 years since the 1950s, or 30 years since the 1950s. And so they come out, they're still dressing like that.
He was in Moving. I just opened that up and I just saw the poster and I'm like, oh yeah. I forgot about that Richard Pryor movie.
Oh, that movie was horrific.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I did like Trapped in Paradise for what it is. It's not
fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine.
Lovitz can ruin most movies just for the way. Oh my God. I was watching. What the fuck was I watching the other day? Oh yeah. I was watching that comedy series on CNN that they did. It's on HBO Max, I think. And I was watching some of the episodes, and I was watching the one specifically about comedians who've died.
Mm-hmm.
And Michael Myers was talking about being at Phil Hartman's funeral with Lovitz. And Lovitz says something that, God, I wish I could remember it, dude. But whatever he said to Myers just cracked me up. Like the fact that he would say that at the funeral. Oh, no. Because he was saying, he said to John Lovitz, can you believe that Phil Hartman's wife killed him? And Lovitz said something like, oh, you're being a bit dramatic, or you're being a little dramatic about what you're going to. You're making a bigger deal out of it than it actually was. And I just lost it. Just what a thing for comedians to say at that. You know,
you deal with it with humor.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. It's the only way to deal with it. That makes sense to me. That's where my mind would be like, okay, I'm looking for something that's going to make people, my friends laugh.
Oh, Lovitz, man. Lovitz. Anyway, all right, where were we, dude? We're lost here. It's hour and 20 into the show. Where are we? What number are we at?
That was my 4.
Which was again
Austin Powers.
That's right. All right, so my 4 is Apollo 13.
That's a punt.
All right, fine. I knew it would be. What's your 3?
My 3 is Room 237.
The documentary?
The one I jokingly said to you. Yeah, they deal with the conspiracy of Kubrick's.
That is so tangentially connected. But you know what? It's your list.
They
I'll
use
let you have it.
footage from what is going to be
Not
your
even
number
about the
one.
moon.
They use footage from what is going to be your number one movie.
It's about faking the moon landing. It's not even about. Oh, all right, go ahead.
It's about the first guy that brings it up rightly says, "Do I believe the U.S. government went to the moon? Yes, but I believe that Kubrick fictionalized the footage that we showed to the public.
Yeah,
and we still went to the moon, and I still think it's fascinating. It's a great documentary.
it is a great documentary. I'm not gonna lie.
No, yeah, not gonna lie, in the slightest. It's utterly fascinating. I heard somebody, a friend of mine, was like, "Oh, that documentary sucks. Like they're just propping up," and I was like, what are you fucking talking about?"
Yeah,
It's like, "Oh, it's a bunch of bullshit theories." And I'm like, if you listen to the theories and the amount of time that these people put into it, they're not like crackpot. They actually sat down and went
Yeah.
frame by frame through
yeah,
certain sections to find out, do I find some of them hold zero water? Yes.
yeah,
There are a few people that I think are utterly stretching.
yeah.
There are others who be like, okay, I can see the argument that you're making here. I find it interesting. I don't know if I agree, but
Right.
it's compelling to say the very least, like the one about the Native Americans.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
the calumet to the peace pipe and whatnot. And the reason that the full label is showing in this one is because they have a treaty between these two characters that they honor and never breaks. And the reason you see all the same label is skewed in this other one is because these two don't, and they keep breaking it between them. You're like, yeah, I actually, yes, that works for what you're talking about. And then they just keep bringing it over. There's all kinds of different parallels, the World War II stuff, but the fake moon landing is the biggest conspiracy theory of all conspiracy theories.
Oh, yeah.
And they get into it, and they found someone that tries to put forth an argument as to it's an excuse to bring up room 237 ultimately. And since we're talking about the moon, that does have, outside of maybe the JFK assassination, the biggest conspiracy theory in the world.
You're not wrong. You're 100%
Yeah,
correct. Yeah.
one of those two, at least that I can think of.
Right.
Why not? It's about the moon. Room 237 talks about.
Yeah. That woman I dated, she said we never landed on the moon because people are on the moon. There's no way we landed on the moon.
If people are already on the moon, then how did they get to the moon?
She doesn't think they're human beings. They're space creatures.
Okay.
Species. Yeah. Letting you know the madness of it all. All right, that's a great choice, dude. I love that documentary. Yeah, go ahead.
I had a question. Do you think she's vaccinated? All this time later, you think she's had the vax? You think she's currently drinking her own urine? Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe.
No, man. I don't know. Because I mean, I read that article in the LA Times about how all these like super insane hippie influencers have like started embracing the QAnon shit. So you're just like, what? How does this make any sense? And then when they explain it, you're like, oh yeah, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, okay.
You just need to,
You're not off base, man.
Find one mental thread of commonality, and you can easily start leaning towards that directionality.
Yeah, I just love the way they just create this monolith of the government. If it's just it's a groupthink place. So such nonsense.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, that's your number 3.
Yeah, that's my 3.
So my 3 is Moon.
That's my 2.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's talk about it.
It's got moon in the title, so I was already going to bump it up a little bit more. It's a exceedingly unique idea.
Sure.
An incredible performance from Rockwell. If you've never seen Moon, we've talked about it before.
We have millions of times,
but I think we've danced around any kind of specifics in the past.
Okay.
I believe so, because I don't know how many people have ever seen it. Although if you're listening to this show, I imagine you have.
Yeah, I mean, you've mentioned it like it's the most mentioned movie that you've ever mentioned.
Yeah, hands down. I managed to squeeze it onto any and every list that we ever do.
I mean, somehow, tangentially, you
I get it on there. I'm good.
Crafty motherfucker. That's
exactly. I don't know if people heard it on last week's, but Moon is an MCU villain in waiting.
Moon
Think
Knight.
about if the moon attacked Earth, how good that storyline would be.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good one, man. And it's a shame because Duncan Jones hasn't really gone on to do much else. I mean, that and Source Code are 2 fucking good movies, man. And he may have only had 2 good movies in him, but they are movies that once you see them, they stick with you, So,
oh yeah,
and Rockwell, arguably his greatest performance as an actor.
For Jones, I can't even imagine what it's like to get out from underneath the shadow of your dad when your dad is David Bowie.
Yeah.
Like, that has got to be next to impossible for people to take you seriously.
Yeah.
As an actual artist, as opposed to, you're just some rich kid who, because your dad is artistic, you think you're artistic. And there's numerous examples of those that I can't think of off the top of my head because I don't know who they are because they never reached any kind of relevance.
That's a good point.
Yeah. And some of them very well could have had great artistic merit and been excellent at it. They just never got the shot because people dismissed them, assholes like me. Whereas I hope he does, because the nice thing about a director is you're never really out of it.
Yeah.
I think you can come back and you can have like projects that come up. Now, the Tarantino belief of if you're really at the top of your game, your prime is only so long.
Yeah.
I think Scorsese is flying in the face of that, but Spielberg may be backing up his claim.
Okay.
So Scorsese might be the exception to the rule that he's trying to buck.
Right.
With his next film being his last. I still don't see his next film being his last. But what do I know?
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think maybe takes a bunch of time off and then comes back and does the Sugar Ray. I'm retired, unretired, retired, under retired. What certain people may do in the Schmodown one day. It's just, man, I'm going to keep banging that drum because I know eventually it's going to come back in rhythm, baby.
Yeah, but certain things are happening recently that I'm like, makes me even more happy that I've made the decision. I mean, that whole Reddit, I don't know if you saw that whole Reddit Schmodown.
I love that you're asking me if I saw the Schmodown Reddit thread.
Because I'm always surprised when Kristen reaches out to you and goes, hey, blah, blah, blah. So I never know when you're in the loop or not.
Well, yeah. But when was the last time I did showed up for your last match? But before that, it was like, dude, I'm out.
Yeah.
He asked me once if I would call a match. I was like, sure. But that was it. It's not like we have ongoing discussions as to what's going on.
I never know. Never know. You stand.
It's true.
You all have this kind of universal vibe you're on.
But that being said, we'll talk about other things. If that's the case.
I'm sure you motherfuckers will. Anyway, all right. So that was 3. So yeah, Moon, great stuff. All right. So what's your 2?
That was my 2. So what's your 2?
Sorry. So my 2 is 2001, A Space Odyssey.
Oh,
no.
Throw me off.
It's called Curveball, son. We've talked about this film many times before. I squeeze it in where I can. But what can you say? Kubrick at his height. Speaking of Kubrick, filming moon landings, but certainly certainly around the moon. The moon plays a part in this.
And there's a space station on the moon. They have to go there before they go out. Have their fight with Hal.
Right, with Hal 9000. And we broke it down on the Cinephiles with Mance over 2 episodes. Like each episode was almost 2.5 hours long. So if you want to get an in-depth discussion on that, you can do that there. But yeah, that's basically, I don't know what more I can add to it. To 2001, everybody knows 2001.
Yeah, I just wish I had the same. It had the same spellbinding effect on me that it does on you and a ton of other people.
Yeah. That's why movies are subjective, man.
Yeah, I'll go in for other Kubricks. I will happily agree with you on. And that one, I'm like, it's good. I just don't think it's the cat's meow that everybody else does.
But are you a sci-fi guy? Would you say that you're a sci-fi guy?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to ask.
I fucking know what space elevators were. So much so that when it pops up in a movie, here's a fictional, that's something that we're projecting we're eventually going to have. And I'm like, oh, so that's a space. So is that carbon nanofiber? How exactly did they make this? Yes, I go in for sci-fi.
Okay, what's your 1?
My 1 is Apollo 13.
Okay, go ahead. Anything? Go ahead.
Whereas your number 1 is an excellent movie. I felt more attached to the characters in Apollo 13.
Oh yeah,
and it was more relatable. And to see the cataclysm that happens in space, and then the scramble here on Earth to try and remedy the problem as best we can to help facilitate them fixing the problem and
Yeah.
then getting back to Earth, and the million things that had to go right
Yeah.
in order for this to even be remotely a possibility. It's just awe-inspiring
Hmm.
from all involved. The intelligence, courage, and fortitude of those individuals that were on the Apollo 13 itself,
Hmm.
and then juxtaposed with the individuals on the ground that are scrambling to try and
Yeah.
diagnose a problem that they can't see.
Yeah.
Best illustrated by we have to fit, a square peg into a round hole when they've got to come up with an air filter solve.
Yeah.
I just think it's a, beautifully shot, edited, acted from start to finish. And, I think that's a testament to the overall human ingenuity and the space program in and of itself.
Mm, good points. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, to me, it's always the acting and the situations they find themselves in, and the back and forth, and these relationships, right? I mean, the whole thing of Gary Sinise having to stay and Kevin Bacon getting to go, and then the kind of chemistry that they're forced to develop with him in order to make it happen. The kind of like locker room, a little bit type of approach to him that they have with Tom Hanks and Bill Paxton, kind of not sure if this is the guy, thinking that them making this switch might have been bad karma for the mission. All of that is really interesting to explore. And then, of course, Ed Harris doing what Ed Harris does best, is holding down the fort and handling business there. And he's great. I mean, he's fantastic, for sure. So
yeah,
I like
tons of great performances, and Ron Howard did an amazing job directing.
Yeah. And his daughter is pretty fucking good now too. I mean,
She
that
is.
last episode of Book of Boba Fett, she was incredible directing that.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
But we've talked about it at the top.
It's true.
Best episode of the season.
Yeah. A lot of people want her now to direct a Star Wars movie. I say she should direct any movie now. Because, I mean, the first one she directed the first season was good. The second one was certainly better in the second season. This is like she's really in command as a director now of what she's doing and what she's creating. It's fantastic to watch.
Well, the first one was, once again, the same problem I had with Mando overall. It was too episodic.
Yeah. Right.
Problem comes up in the first act. It's resolved by the third. So just, I don't know. Didn't have the stakes, whereas last night's was like, yeah, you can tell this is fleshed out. This is part of an overall world. And it's just a sliver of this individual's life for this time, but it's so much more complex than that.
Yeah, true. All right, then my number one is First Man. I think, and I give it the nod, not because it's a better film than 2001. Obviously, I would never say that, but it's more about the moon than 2001 is for me, obviously, because this is Neil Armstrong's approach to getting on the moon and landing on the moon and all the pressures that go with being a part of the space program, which some of these documentaries do talk about, especially nowadays, the ones that interview the wives that are still alive or the partners or the daughters and the sons of these men who were trying to go to the moon or go into space. And so having a film that kind of chronicles that in a fictional way, even though it's a nonfiction story, I thought worked really well here. And I know there's a lot of people who don't like this movie, but there's a lot of people who defend this movie. And so I'm obviously in that camp because I think the Damien Chazelle did an incredible job directing this movie. The cinematography is incredible. And when they finally land on the moon, I saw this in IMAX, man. It put the zap in me, but good. And I'll never forget that movie for its ability to. And I think Gosling does a really incredible job playing a character that is not easy to like, not easy to connect to. Claire Foy as well does a great job with that character, and their relationship is a tough one to grasp and to accept as a loving, supportive relationship. This is asking more of the viewer, and I appreciate that. It's a nice difference from what we've seen, like Kathleen Quinlan and her love of Tom Hanks in Apollo 13. This is a different approach, probably a more realistic approach to some of those relationships.
I agree.
Going on, so I like that about the movie, and I think it's one of his most mature performances ever as an actor.
Yeah, it's my only qualm with the film is I feel so detached from the character.
Yeah, some people do.
And to some degree, he is from the world around him.
Yes,
but that the moon landing, the cinematography, but also the score, just draws you right in. Simple strings, but it just builds and builds and builds. and you feel the power of that moment, and like the almost eye tap shot of when they're leaving the Earth itself to show you
Yeah.
how truly tiny they are in the context of the cosmos
Yeah.
and the scope of all this. And I saw something interesting the other day. The scenes where he has to tell his sons that I'm leaving and basically I may never come back.
Yeah.
And Claire Foy tells him, "You have to do this. You are not allowed to leave."
Right.
Those were rehearsals.
Oh, wow.
Exactly. That
That-
was
wow.
them getting to know each other.
Yeah.
And Giselle just told him, was like, we're going to shoot it so we can look at it later, knowing full well I intend on using this for the film.
Wow.
And so all that interaction and whatnot, them bonding and the familial tie that they have together are fucking rehearsals.
Interesting.
Yeah, those are, pretty impact. I think it carries a little bit more impact once you know that.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Well, all right, cool. But yeah, overall, a great film. So there we go. That's my number one. So, all right. Well, there's our separate lists. We're going to put this thing together and give you our overall official top 10 list of the movies about the moon. I'll grab the bongos, create some space on the desk.
So Apollo 13, you had where?
Number 4.
Okay, so I think it goes Apollo 13, First Man, 2001.
Okay. And then Moon. Probably.
Actually, Moon might end up. Why don't we do Apollo, First Man, Moon, 2001?
Okay.
All right, so that's 1 through 4 finished.
Okay.
Which, let's see, Moon was your number 3.
Mm-hmm.
Austin Powers, I have at 4, but you have that at like 8, 7?
Yeah. Yeah, but it's. Yeah.
I would assume Austin Powers then next.
Okay. Austin Powers is 10, but since it's that high at 4, I think it takes precedence. And then we have Superman 2 and Men in Black 3 in common.
Correct. I got Superman 2 at 10 and Men in Black 3 at 7.
Okay. Superman 2 is 6 on my list, and Men in Black is 8 on my list.
7, 8 versus 6, 10. We can go 6, 10. That's fine.
Okay.
2 Men in Black 3. All right. So I have my number 3, Room 237.
Yeah. Okay. Put it on.
What's your next highest?
Number 5, Apollo 11,
Apollo.
documentary.
All right. Next highest?
Oh, number 7, For All Mankind.
All right. For All Mankind it is.
Oh, nice. Okay. There we go. Let's do this. The top 10 movies about the moon. Yeah. At number 10.
For All Mankind.
At number 9.
Apollo 11.
At number 8.
Room 237.
At number 7.
Men in Black 3.
At number 6.
Superman 2.
At number 5.
Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me.
At number 4.
2001, A Space Odyssey.
I wonder if this works. Nope, that doesn't work. At number 3, I think.
Is Moon.
At number 2.
First Man.
And our number 1 movie about the moon is
Apollo 13.
There you go. Hey-o. And go see Moonfall next week, or this week, rather, coming out. Or it'll be out already, I guess, by the time people's... No, it'll be...
No, it comes out the weekend after they hear this.
Okay. So, yeah, go see it this weekend. Have some fun with this madness.
Yeah. Unless they switch this one and IMDb lied to us again, but there's too many trailers at this point.
No, this one's going to be there. So there you go. All right. Well, thanks so much to everybody who listened to us. Hope we gave you some ideas for movies you might want to watch over the next week or so. Some moon stuff. Maybe you'll get inspired by the fact that a Moonfall movie is coming out and want to explore some of these. So maybe we guided you in the right direction. Some of these theatrical films, some of these documentaries as well. All right, Matt, what do we have to say to end the show?
Please follow us on Twitter at Top 10 Show, all spelled out. Otherwise, you can go to Instagram and YouTube /the Top 10 Podcast with the number 10. So hit us up over there. And you can follow me at Matt Knost. Check out Settle the Score if you want to hear another movie trivia show. And Dropping Dimes if you're into basketball.
We might need to set up a Geek Buddies rematch, dude, with down the road here. It still sticks in their craw that I beat him. It really
Well,
does.
you actually, I might change the third because we've only had a couple 3-man panels.
Okay.
And I think in the future, there might be a tweak on the third round.
Right. That makes sense.
Just a slight tweak for the 3-person shows. But yeah, I'm not against it.
We'll set it up at some point. And you can follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram and on TikTok at The Rocha Says as well. Posted some reviews and some interviews there. It's just snippets. I'm not going to do dances or anything like that. Just snippets like that. And then also on Twitch, The Outlaw Nation, do a lot of watch-alongs. We watched 3 of the playoff games over the weekend, last weekend, and we'll be watching both AFC and NFC championship games on watch-alongs there on Twitch, The Outlaw Nation, and then my YouTube channel, youtube.com/John Rocha Says, and then, of course, the Cinephiles and the Geek Buddies. All right. Y'all take care of yourselves. Be well, and we'll talk to you next time with another brand new episode of the Top 10. Peace.